This is a conversation. I thought I'd talk about my time in Israel. I got to spend 3.5 months in Israel. I stayed in a moshav, which is a small community of foreigners that live together for mutual benefit. I stayed in a moshav for the length of that time. It was a little bit outside of Jerusalem, not that far, maybe a 15-minute drive. And I learned quite a lot. Now, I've been multiple places in the world. I've had the privilege of going to South Korea when I was in the Army, and I got to see a lot of the United States while I was in the Army. I was stationed in Alaska, in Fairbanks. So going to Israel was a brand new experience for me, culturally. I mean, as you could imagine, the differences are as different as night and day. But I never anticipated that being there I would have had as many epiphanies as I did. I mean, before you do anything brand new, something as immersive as going and living in a country completely different than yours, for 3.5 months, you can't anticipate it. What could you anticipate? All that you can anticipate is the change and the difference, but you just can't see the ways specifically in which you're going to be affected. I mean, I definitely didn't. But some of the changes are so minute that you couldn't know unless maybe you listened to somebody talking about it like I am now. A lot of the toilet seats are square. That'll get you. Some of the toilet paper is pre-cut. I'd say a lot of it is pre-cut. So it's like a tissue box, but for toilet paper. So there's things like that, but then there's a lot of other things, like religious freedom. It's truer to say that there's religious freedom in the United States as opposed to in Israel. And I say that because although there is religious freedom there, the culture and the dynamic of everything is permeated by Judaism. So what does that mean? That means that, well, I'll give you an example of something that happened. Me and my wife wanted to go to the mall and grab a bite to eat and spend some time together, like a date. And she wanted to get some coffee, and I wanted to get something like a burger. Now, in Israel, since everything is dominated by the kosher laws, you can't get a cheeseburger. But you can get a burger, and that's on one side of the mall. So I go and I get a burger, and my wife goes and she gets a coffee, a latte or something. Now, we thought harmless enough that we could sit together. I mean, this isn't the sort of thing that requires any additional thought. Ever in our entire life, we would never think about anything to this degree. But when we sat down at the table, the people surrounding us got quite ecstatic about us not sitting at the same table together. Now, why is this? Why in the world would people get mad that me and my wife were sitting together? Because you can't have a burger, which is beef, anywhere close to milk or anything dairy. So I had to enjoy the burger on the other side of the mall, where my wife on the other side, the opposing side, had to enjoy her latte. And once we were done, then we could be together. So strange and bizarre, but that's how it goes. So it suffices to say, us Gentiles, we we really got the cheese on the burger. We really got that right. So many things. Now, of course, I don't say any of this to offend any of my Jewish viewers. Anyone that knows me very well would know that, I went to Israel to learn about Judaism and Jewish culture and to be immersed in it because I love it. I think it's wonderful. I love differences in culture. But something that I had learned there, because my real occupation while being there was learning about the Bible and taking classes on the Bible and taking classes on Hebrew and taking classes. It was all, really, let's study the book. That was the thing. And at this point, when I was in Israel, I was about 2 years into my degree, and I never thought that I would feel the way that I felt coming back home after this trip. I've been told by people who are experienced and wiser and older that when you're looking to get into a job, the perfect combination is doing not only what you're good at, but what you enjoy. And if you can find a job in that, you won't work a day in your life. Well, that's what I thought I was pursuing. That's what I thought that I was doing. Because up until that point, I was pretty good at it. I was good at writing papers on Exodus or Levitical law or prophecy in Isaiah. I was pretty good at that. And I also enjoyed it. I found it fun. All religious aside, like studying Moby Dick or the Iliad and the Odyssey. I was very good at, and I enjoyed studying the book. But when I was in Israel and I was doing that 24/7, you wake up, you go out the door, you're doing something to the extent of learning about it, writing about it. When you're doing it all the time and there's 30 other people with you that are doing it all the time and you're doing it all the time for 3.5 months, I was absolutely burnt out on it. I'm burnt out on it. I still am. And I have no barometer. I have no way with which to understand whether that's any indication of how I actually feel about it, of how I actually intend to move forward with this thing. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I feel as though I can't do it. I don't enjoy it. I don't like it. And that's where I'm at right now. And how much time it'll take until that changes, I don't know. That's the game that I'm playing. There is 16 videos worth of stuff that I could say, but I will not. I'll suffice to leave it at that. But for those of you watching, how did you find the things that you enjoy doing, the things that you do for work? One of the epiphanies that I had when talking to a native Israelite, a born and raised secular Israeli, what he said to me was, I told him exactly that you do what you're good at and what you enjoy. Most people get one or the other and they exclude, they're mutually exclusive for most people. But if you can get those two, you're good. And this bus driver that I was talking to said to me, why does it matter? Does it pay the bills? And his idea was like, I don't enjoy it and I'm not very good at it, but it pays the bills. That's what matters. And I thought, wow, I don't know if it's a westernized cultural idea that we have to be a homeowner and have a 401k and be good at it and like it. But this one Israeli man said to me, who cares? Enjoy time with your family. Love doing your hobbies. And if it pays the bills, be thankful. And that's it. Nothing more than that. And what I'll say about that is this, that it for sure absolutely makes you more thankful and grateful and kills all of the sort of dominating pressures that a 25-year-old man like me has to deal with on a daily basis. So perhaps that was the saving nature of the trip, was to make me more thankful. And I will say this, I have never been more thankful for home. I live in California, and everybody here complains about it. It's too expensive. It's far too liberal, or far too Hollywood. The glam and the lifestyle is just not for most people. Well, you know what I say. I was born here, and I was raised here, and this is where I'm at. And unless I'm given some lump sum and a fresh start in some other state, I'm thankful for it. I'm thankful for home, and I love this place. What about you guys? Do you guys love where you live? Did you guys get away from there and have settled somewhere different? Do you ever think back to your home, where home will always be home? It's where your mom and dad are, or is your home somewhere completely different and you decided to uproot yourself and call a new place home? I'd love to hear some of your guys' stories. I really would. And if you can speak to any of the things that I'm talking about, I'd love to hear your wisdom on it. Appreciate you guys being part of the conversation. And keep smoking.